Howdy folks, welcome to the channel. I am standing in the area that I want to build my first paddock so I can get my livestock. My goal in the next 3 to 5 years to have livestock here, preferably haired sheep, which is very easy to maintain because I don't have to shear them at all. And I want meat goats because I don't want dairy. I don't want to be tied down with the dairy. But if you look behind me, there is no fencing. And the reason why I want to get this fencing done is because my goal is to have the sheep and the goats here in the next 3 to 5 years and having it operating. I'm not going to have the whole property fenced because it's going to cost a lot. But if I can do one paddock at a time, I want to be able to get it done. So I am going over to Clark, Missouri. It's 10 miles from where I live. There is a place called Forge Build. I drive by it Monday through Friday when I go to work, and I noticed that they had fencing material there. So not only they sell lumber, they sell paint, they sell hardware and tools, they also sell fencing materials. And so I am going over there and I'm getting prices on post, steel T-post, the goat and sheep woven wire that I need for this fencing, and the bob wire, the bob wire and bracing wire. And so I want to sit down. I'm going to write out what it's going to be the total cost of building this whole first paddock. I know it's not going to be cheap because I have to do this on a budget. That's why I'm getting the prices now. And these prices are subject to change in the next 3 to 5 years as I build this, because I will be building it little at a time because I'm the only one here. I'm by myself. I don't have nobody else. And so that is my goal. And hopefully in the next 3 to 5 years, you will see sheep and goats out here. And that is my goal. My idea why I'm doing paddocks is because I want to do what they call regenerative farming. Regenerative farming is where you are using animals to regenerate the soil. You know, you fertilize and you can rotate them out, and that's what I want to do. And I noticed, and I read up in social media that they are wanting to do grants, and they're trying to do that to try to get regenerative farming, because with crop farming, we are depleting our nutrients. Our topsoil is being washed away every time it rains. And so this regenerative farming is a great concept. And not only that, you don't have to worry about erosion. Your paddocks are getting well fertilized. You get the grass and all that. And you have a wonderful piece of property that you're not depleted of the nutrients. Your animals are not depleted, and that is my goal. There is one farm is very popular called Polyface Farms. Joe Salatin, he does that idea, regenerative farming. It is a great practice, and that is a practice that we should be practicing. As a matter of fact, that has been an old practice for years, and I don't know why we have gone away from it. And I think it's a great way to get our nutrients back, because our soil's back, our grass back, because we're not, this area here in this country was wooded, plains, and desert. Depends on which region. And where I'm living this is where the plains start coming in, but we also had a lot of woods. So my goal is to have that regenerative farming. So what we're going to do is we're going to get in the truck and we're going to go over to Clark, Missouri, and we're going to go price out the fencing materials, get the prices, and then I'm coming back and I'm going to sit down and we're going to get the total cost, what it's going to cost to do this very first paddock that I want. So let's get in the truck and let's head to Clark. am back from Clark over at Ford's Build. I got prices of everything I need, so let's go inside the house where it's warm and let's make out what it's going to cost to build this fence for this first paddock. All right, we're back inside where it's warm, and I had figured up my budget, how much it's going to cost. But first, I'm going to talk about what I priced. So when I got there to Ford's Build, they actually had most of the prices out there by, especially the posts. I had to go inside to get the prices of wire and the 6.5 foot T-post that I'll probably be using. I am going to try to see if I can use 6 foot T-post, and if I do, that'll make it even cheaper because I have a lot of T-posts still here that I can use for this fence. But, meaning said, when I mentioned earlier, I wanted to do the whole thing as a brand new fence all the way around, including T-posts. I am including that in the price regardless if I'm using it or not. So when I drove around, I found that they had railroad ties, and I priced them, and they're $18.95 a piece. I saw that they had 5x8 corner posts, which is 5 inches diameter by 8 foot long, treated, pressure treated. And they also had 6 inches in diameter and pressure treated. So I got both prices, which the 5x8 is $16.49. And these 6 inch in diameter posts that are pressure treated were way higher than the others, but they were at $22.71. They had 6 foot T-posts. They had different sizes, but for me, 6 and 6.5 foot is where I particularly need for this fence, especially the wire is 48 inches, and then I need another at least couple 3 inches for the top strand wire. And the 6 foot posts were $5.79, and then this is where I had to go in and get the pricing. Their 6.5 foot T-post, if it's just a standard light duty post, $6.20. Or you can go with the heavy duty, which is $6.37 a piece. Regardless, I went ahead, when I budgeted, I went ahead and done the lighter duty ones. Bob wire for 4-point is $106 a roll, which that is about a quarter of a mile. 1,320 feet is what comes in a roll. The goat and sheep wire, the woven wire I need that's for goats and sheep. Believe it or not, I got a pretty good, they had a pretty good price there. You know, it's 330 foot post, or 330 foot of wire, and it is $317.49. Last time I priced this, it was almost $400 at Baumgart's Farm and Home Store and Tractor Supply. They were about the same price. They were almost $400. And then bracing wire, and the bracing wire is what I need for the when you put the bracing on the corner post or the end line of the post, you brace that wire up to tighten it together. 100 foot is $145, which that will go a long way. So for that first paddock where I was standing, that I showed him that I want to get fenced, I'm approximately going to need about 30 corner posts, 30 posts. That's including line posts, you know, in certain areas that I'm going to need. And especially on the back section of the paddock fence. And I'm going to go with, I priced the 5 inch by 8 pressure treated posts, and I need about 30 of them. And that would have been a total of $494.70. I figured in approximately how many T-posts I need with this, and based on how many rolls of wire that woven wire that I need for it. And I approximately need about 165 T-posts, and I'm going with a 6.5 foot T-post, which that is a total of $1,023. I approximately estimated, because I've done a previous video where I started on this fence, and I did a budget video on the very first fence that I have done, and it's part of this paddock. So I knew how much wire I'm going to need, and I kind of did a measurement of the road frontage fence, which one roll of this woven wire will actually do that section right there. So I figured on the back side I'm going to need 2 on it, and then on the each so I figured probably on the each end I'm going to need probably about another roll on each side. So I approximately did about 4 rolls of it, and 4 rolls of it, and a total of that is $1,269.96. I might need another roll on it. I'm not for sure, but I'm going with 4 rolls. If I have to get a 5th roll, that's fine. I'm going to budget for it when it comes down to it. I only need 1 roll of bracing wire, which is $145, and then I will only need 2 rolls of barbed wire. I may not even need that, but I put in 2 rolls of barbed wire, which is $212. I figured that up total, and the total cost is $3,359.96. That's before tax. I found out what Clark, Missouri sales tax is, so it's approximately about $267.80 after that. So the grand total on this, plus or minus, is $3,623.76 that I'm going to have to save up. The good news is it's not going to be all at once. It's going to be in small amounts. So I'm hoping next year, hopefully by summer or fall next year, that I will be doing my first section of this fence and getting it done. And so that way, if I have that part done, then I can budget in more as I go. I also have to taking the fact that I'm going to have to put a little pause because I do have a bad hip. And I'm going to have surgery, possibly hip replacement. I will find out as more goes, and I will inform you all about that as I go, especially on this channel and my other channel. And hopefully, quicker I get that done, quicker that I can get recovered, quicker I can get out and get this, homestead build, because I am so super excited. I'm so ready for this. I know I'm going to have to pay those bills too, but that's the reason, that's the beauty of, that is the thing about building on a budget. And I'm going to need this fence. And then this is a 3 to 5 year goal. So I'm hoping in the next 3 to 5 years, I'll have this completely done and budgeting for my next paddock or the next section of fences that I'm going to need. So there you have it. There is my total cost of what it's going to cost to build that very first paddock that I'm going to need for the animals, because that's where I'm going to start. And as I expand out, I will be building more fences for a second and third paddocks. And hopefully I'll have a bigger, it'll get bigger and bigger. And hopefully that this will be more of a self-sustainable farm. And so I'm hoping, and my goal is, the next 3 to 5 years on this channel, you'll be seeing animals in that paddock, and hopefully you'll see me expand into a new paddock. So I'm going to end this video with this. Let's be kind, be positive, have a good attitude, and encourage and support one another. You all have a great day. God bless, and I'll see you on the next one.